I would try to do one that is refundable. If you put that your travel date is earlier, there are tricks to getting your visa pushed through. In this video, I'm gonna share with you how you can get a French visa fast as an American. Hi guys, if you're new, my name is Joy. I'm originally from San Diego and I'm based in New York City, but I also live part-time in Paris. I went to go visit Paris for the first time last year for my birthday in 2021, and I have been to Paris now 3 times in that year because I truly love the city. But the only problem last year was I did not have a visa to go back the 3rd time. So I had to figure out how to get a visa as an American. Okay, so for those who are not familiar, if you're an American citizen, you can be in any EU country for up to 90 days. Once you hit your 90 days, you have to leave the EU country and you can't go back for another 90 days. So this was kind of a problem for me because as someone who works remote, who wants to be able to go back and forth whenever I want and live in basically both cities, I didn't really want to have that barrier where I had to figure out, okay, how many days am I at? So my friend actually works at the French consulate and I asked him what the process would be like to get a visa. And he told me it was actually pretty simple, despite everyone online saying that it wasn't. And I thought I would just shoot my shot and get a visa, and it actually happened. And I know this process can take a really long time, so I wanted to share with you what I did. So hopefully if you're also interested in living this type of lifestyle where you are more international and you can have the freedom to travel and live wherever you want if you work a remote lifestyle, then this video is for you. Also, I am not a professional, so any information that I'm sharing, this is something that I'm just sharing as my experience, and you should also do your own research. I also want to give you an idea that not everyone will have the same, I guess, access to getting this visa is from my understanding, and I understand that my privilege, affects how I got this visa. Okay, whatever. Anyways, let's just get into it. So before you get your French visa, something that you need to figure out is basically which visa applies to you. So there are a couple different visas that you can apply for. The most popular one that you're going to want to go for is the long-term travel visa. This is the one that I have currently, but it's not the one that I shot my shot for. I'll get into the one that I shot my shot for. After the tourist visa, there's another one called the long-term work-sponsored visa. This one's pretty challenging to get because you have to get a job in order to get this visa. And even after you get a French working job, you still have to wait a really long time to get the French working visa. And I know from my experience as friends who are expats living in France, they still don't have their work visas and they got the job a really long time ago. So that one's really annoying, and that one also is not that great because it's tied to your job. So if you ever left that job, then you would also have to give up that visa, and you're basically like tied to that visa. The third one that you can get is the family visa. So that one is basically if you have a family member that is hosting you, or you are romantically in a relationship with someone that, can get you the visa, that sort of thing. Then the next one that you can get is the one that I went for, which is the talent visa. This one's basically for artists or entrepreneurs, people that are looking to go to France and basically go there for creative purposes. And then the last one is the enterprise entrepreneur visa, which is really difficult because you actually have to show your business income and projections and that sort of thing. Oh, also last one is the student visa. So if you are going there for school, that one's actually pretty easy to get if you actually get into school. So those are all the main ones that you can apply for. I will say the pros and cons with these are, with the tourist visa, you are not allowed to work for any French companies. You cannot work in France for a French company. And for the student visa, you cannot work for more than 6 months a year because they want you to actually focus on your studies. So there's all these like different flaws and that sort of thing. I have an entire series on my TikTok that actually outlines what I wish I knew about each French visa. So if you guys aren't already following me on TikTok, I will put my TikTok over here and you guys can check out the little folder at the very top, and it has the entire series over there that explains the pros and cons and what I wish I knew about each French visa if you want to check it out. But in this video, I'm going to share with you just the entire process because a lot of people have asked about this. Okay, so now once you figured out what type of visa that you want, you need to go to the application site. France no longer does their visa applications themselves. They have outsourced this entire process to a company called VFS. I will put the link right over here of what the website is so you guys can go over there. And it's a third company. They're fine. I personally don't have anything bad to say about them or anything great to say about them. It's a government. It's like an agency thing. It's kind of like the DMV, but like a little nicer. So once you go there, you have to apply for a French visa. I can't talk. And you have to pick what date you want to go in. So you basically fill out all the forms. You fill out your name, your information, your contact, your passport number. You update all those different just info about yourself. And then you have to pay a deposit. I believe mine was around $25 to $30. It might have changed on the date that you're watching this, but in 2021, I remember it being around $30. And that is to reserve your appointment. Now, I've heard from blogs that it is pretty hard to get this appointment. And I think the best way to get this appointment is to try at the start of every month. So at the start of every month, they plan out the appointments for the rest of the month. And I guess this is like the appointment center that everyone goes to if they need to go. So when I went there, there was people from other countries that had flown to New York just to go to this visa center for France, which is wild to me. And I feel very grateful that I was not far away. So I would encourage you to start this at the start of every month if you haven't. You might get lucky, or you might need to just go to another visa VFS location in another state, like Boston or Florida or something like that. But I picked the New York one because that was just easiest for me. So once you pick the appointment, you pay for it and then you check out. And I think you have to confirm with the email that they send you, that sort of thing. From there, you need to make sure that you have all of your documents ready so you can go into this appointment and get your visa. So in order to make sure that you're securing your visa, I'm going to share with you all the documents that you need. There's a lot, so I took notes on which ones you are going to need. And I would recommend getting a folder out and doing this and blocking out 2 hours of your day to do this because it's just a lot of tedious information. So what you're going to need to print out is the last 90 days of your paychecks. If you are a working employee, you have to show your last 3 months of getting paid. And if you don't have money and you're not getting paid, that's fine, but you need the last 90 days of your bank account statement. So whatever financial statements you have, I would bring those, stocks, all that stuff, any financials for the last 90 days, I would print that out. And then I would put that into a nice little folder. And I would have a Post-it and write financials right over there. Then you want to make sure that you can show that you have money that can show that you can finance yourself for at least 65 euros a day, which is $65 right now, if you have a place to live in France. If you don't have a place to live in France, then you need to show that you can at least support yourself for, I believe it was 100 to 120 euros per day. So basically you need to show that you have the equivalence of, I hate to say this, $10,000 somewhere. If you don't have the funds, what you can do is you can have someone be a guarantor for you. So a guarantor is basically a parent or someone else basically writing in a letter saying that they are going to make sure that they are helping you out financially. And what your guarantor needs to show is first a letter saying that they are signing off on this, and then the guarantor needs to show their proof of funds for the 90 days. So if you don't have the financials, your dad, your mom, or your rich aunt, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, your friend, I don't know, where your dog is providing the funds. Okay, from there are tricks to getting your visa pushed through. Because the thing with France is they just want to make sure that they're not liable to taking care of you as a foreigner visiting their country. So they want to make sure that you have a place to live and that you have money to get around and that you're not going to be a problem, because every country has their problems, right? So one thing that can help push your case is if you have a host. So a host is basically like someone saying that they're going to bring you in and that you're going to be living with them during your time in France. So if you have a host, they need to first write a letter saying that they are going to host you during your stay. They are also going to need to provide their French ID front and back. And they are going to need to show that they have their French address, so like a proof of a lease, and also proof that they pay bills at that lease. From there, you also have to show that you have travel insurance. This one's really important. So your travel insurance needs to be covered in France, and it also needs to cover the shipment of your body if you were to die in France. This was like really weird. You can just call your insurance company and ask if they cover that. If your insurance company does, what you need to tell them to do is that you are applying for a visa in France and you need a letter from them emailed to you, and then you need to also print out the front and back of your insurance card. Then the next thing that they do ask for you is a housing receipt for the first 90 days that you are going to be in France. So if you are staying at an Airbnb, you need to have 3 months booked of the Airbnb or a 3-month short-term stay already booked. That way you can show it, that sort of thing, because they want to make sure that when you get there you have a place to live, that you're not just like going to be like homeless and like creating problems. I read on blogs, and I'm not encouraging this whatsoever, but you could essentially like book it, and then if you change your mind you could always find a flexible booking agent, if you know what I mean. But again, do whatever you need to do, basically. For if you're going for a work visa, like the work is going to do all of this for you, saying that they're going to sponsor you and all of this stuff. If you're going for any of the other advanced visas, like the talent visa or the entrepreneurship visa, you basically need to print out proof of your business, proof of your business making money, all that different stuff. But I think most people are going after the travel one, so this is like the one that most applies to you. Okay, so now that you've printed all of that out and you are ready to go to your appointment, make sure that you have it in a nice folder. Make sure that you have all of your documents printed out. You also need to make sure that you have your passport with you. I would also bring another type of government issued ID in case they want another ID, and I would definitely bring a credit card. I don't think they take cash or check there. You should expect to spend roughly around $125 to $130 for the entire appointment. What they'll do is they'll basically take the $30 deposit and apply to that. But I think the visa was like $90, and then there's expedited shipping and then some fees and that sort of thing. So I would arrive early. Let's talk about the appointment. Once you get to the appointment, it's located in Times Square, so prepare mentally for that. Also, when I went, it was mask mandated. I don't know if things have changed now, but make sure that you bring a mask in case, because I didn't have one and someone actually kindly lent me one, but if I didn't, like, I would have missed my appointment. I would get there a little early because you never know, some things could go wrong. And once you get there, you cannot use your cell phone. So you'll actually get in trouble if you have your cell phone on you and you're using it. So make sure you have everything printed out. If you don't have things printed out, you're going to have to go outside again and print it out at like a postal center or something like that. And it's like, I don't know, it adds up. They don't let you print there. So once you go in, they have you sit in a center. It's kind of like a DMV or like any government ID issued area. And then you go up when your number is called. And the lady basically just goes through all your documents. You're like nervous. You're like, oh my God. I try to like make friends with everyone that I talk to whenever I do these type of things. Like I try to build rapport, like ask her how her day is, like crack some jokes, you know, like bond with whoever, because her job is obviously kind of boring. So let's make it kind of fun. And after that, basically you pay and then you take a picture and they scan your thumb and then they ship these documents to Washington, D.C. to the consulate. And then from there, they basically like go through to make sure you're like not a criminal and that you're legit and that you don't have any, I guess, like outstanding things coming for you. And basically your visa will be sent back to you within 2 weeks. Mine took a little longer than that. I think it took like 3 weeks because I had some documents missing, like my insurance was not fully attached. And also, I guess, apparently you're supposed to write a letter saying why you want to go to France and what your plan is there and what your little itinerary is and your plan. So just have like a little letter, basically like a cover letter printed out saying like what your plan is when you travel there. It doesn't have to be like super official. They just want, I guess they just want that. And I ended up getting denied the talent visa. I guess they don't think being a content creator is an actual job. So they sent it back to me and they just gave me a travel long-term visa, which I was fine with because it allows me to go in and out of France. And I have it for a year. So I got it back, and basically when you get it back, you find out in your passport in there if you have the visa or not. It will have, I'm not going to show you guys because it has my like numbers on it and stuff, but it'll have like basically the visa like card in there, and it'll show you like what type of visa you have, and it's really exciting. I did like a little unboxing of mine. You guys can check it out on my Instagram or it's on my TikTok. You can see either one of them. And it's really exciting. Some tips that I will have if you want to expedite this process is if you put that your travel date is earlier than what it probably actually is, then they will expedite that. So don't try to do this process when your actual travel date is way farther out because they're just going to not prioritize you as much. So you can always book a flexible flight where you can change the flight whenever you want. Also, yeah, I forgot to say that you do need to print out your actual airline, which is annoying. Like, you're doing all of this booking, but you don't know if you have a visa or not. It's really scary. Yeah, so any hotel or flight that you book, I would try to do one that is refundable in case this all like crashes and burns on you. Yeah, I know that's not reassuring, but I use my Chase credit card, so they're like a travel credit card, so they're very forgivable if anything goes wrong. So if you guys want to check out the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I have a link right over here that talks about the pros and cons about it. But yes, you do need to print out your flight. I don't think you need a return flight, but you need to book out your flight and then the travel hotel. And basically from there, once you get into France, you have 90 days that you have to register that you're in France with your French visa. You do it on the website. I forget what the website is. I'll put it over here when I'm editing this. But basically you go over there and you just check in, and at the end, the most annoying part is that you do have to pay a 200 euro stamp saying that you are here. And from there, it said that I had a resident permit, so I guess I have a resident permit. Once you get a resident permit, you basically have to go to the doctor and prove that you're healthy, and then you just share that with the French application site that you were on. And that is everything. I hope this video was helpful. If you got value out of it, it would do me a lot if you could just like and share this video with anyone else that you know that would benefit from it. And if you are new and you want more videos like this, consider subscribing to our channel. We are almost at our goal of hitting 8,000 subscribers, so I would be really excited to hit that goal sometime soon. So all of your support definitely helps. And if you want to follow us more and our journeys, you can check out our other social media handles right over here. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!